Sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a hot Tuesday afternoon in Nashville. Summer has gotten here, to which I say, thank God. Yeah, summer's here. Enjoy it. By the way, if you open the door right now to your home and you hear people cheering, it's one of two things. It's either the group supporting Murray State University, and congrats to them. What an awesome job they did in holding off Ole Miss last night in Oxford. The other one, and this is a little bit of a stretch, is Oregon State University, which just scored again against USC.
Yes, they did.
Not everybody on the show reacting to that. Let's go to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, you want to know the story behind that?
Tell us.
So yesterday, intern Hugh spouts off that USC will beat Oregon State. Final score, Oregon State 9 and USC 0.0. So
he ate
anyway,
his words.
Poor Hugh has caught some good-natured barbs.
It happens.
It does. It happens to the best of us. But the first time you go out on a limb, 9-0, that doesn't look good.
Oh, it does not. That's great.
Did you see the final 3 innings of Murray State?
I did not. I heard about it today from one of my buddies. That was it was like wasn't it 11 or 12-1? Was it something like that? Is that what it was?
12-3.
12-1, 12 something.
Ole Miss scored 5, I think, in the 6th, and kept adding to it. Murray State felt like one of these boxers that kept getting knocked down to the canvas, but kept getting back up. It had Rocky Balboa all over it.
Nice.
That's a great win for that community. I know there are a lot of Ole Miss people in our area that aren't quite as happy, but kudos to Murray State. That's pretty cool.
This is really going to be bad what I'm going to say, George. I'm sorry, but now since Murray State has made it to their first super regional, I'm hoping that somebody will go in and buy them a new scoreboard. Have you seen that scoreboard, George?
No, tell me about it.
It is literally when they put it in 1956 or sometime. Like, they haven't changed it.
During
Maybe
the
that'll give them some
Eisenhower
money.
administration.
Yes, it's unbelievable. Like when we were going up there for football games, I looked over there and I was like, it looks like, I can't even explain what it looks like. It looks like Babe Ruth played there a long time ago. Unbelievable.
Perhaps the
Perhaps we can get some money.
1919 White Sox. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Billy, how are you today?
I'm good. Is that that's the football scoreboard?
No,
Or the baseball?
baseball.
Okay, I need to look that
It looks
up.
like it looks like somebody is still standing up there behind, which I know that Fenway does it. I get it, which is a cool thing. Like when you go to the Masters, but like at some point we got to change the scoreboard. It looks like somebody's up there manually, working the scoreboard. It's so old.
Oh, that is old.
So for those who are watching by way of podcast, are you about to show that to us?
Well, I can, but I did read just now that, Kelly, they might be under construction.
There we go. Let's go,
Funded
racers.
by private donations. Perhaps, Kelly,
Let's go.
you mouthed off, you could contribute.
No, sorry.
Maybe not. Okay. Billy, how's Hugh doing over there? Because I can't see him with the TV. Is he recovering?
Yeah, he's holding up.
Yeah.
That was tough.
9 times.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bueller. Oregon State scored 9 times.
Thank you for continuing to pile on.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Do you have an update with any substance whatsoever?
Yeah, we got some good substance today, and it's all brought to you by X Golf, the world's most accurate golf simulator. Book a tee time at playxgolf.com. They've got one in Bellevue, not far from where we are, just a stone's throw away from the Fordyce Center here in Bellevue. Fuel your game with their restaurant and bar. They got great food, great drinks. The grand opening for a second store is this Friday in Franklin at 209 South Royal Oaks. We'll do our show there. We hope to see you all out there.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
All right, so we got into some college baseball. Tennessee, of course, beats Wake Forest 11-5. But in the fourth inning of last night's game, ESPN cameras captured Demon Deacons head coach Tom Walter muttering an expletive and a homophobic slur before Andrew Fisher's at-bat in the fourth inning. Fisher then hit a 2-run homer just 4 pitches later to put Tennessee up 8-2. And he had to issue a statement apologizing for his outburst during last night's game. And the cameras pretty clearly caught it. It went viral on social media, and it was honestly pretty funny. But more funny because Fisher hit the home run 4 pitches later.
Did he then turn and say anything to?
I don't think so, but he was rounding the bases a lot like he did
against Vandy
in that Vandy game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an unbelievable atmosphere last night in Knoxville. No other school in the country has a streak of even 3 years of making the Super Regional. The second best is 2. Well, Tennessee has made it to 5 straight Super Regionals.
Wow.
That doesn't happen.
It's impressive.
Doesn't happen in this sport. And of course, Murray State held on over Ole Miss. You guys are right. They were down 12-3. The Rebels were. They cut that lead to 12-11, but couldn't tie it in the 9th. And Murray State became the 10th number 4 seed to advance to the Supers since the current format started in 1999.
The kid that pitched for Murray State in relief, his pitch count was in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought his arm was going to fall off.
Yeah,
I heard he was getting rocked too. He was throwing that little curve, and they were just rocking it too. And then you got to give it to the coach for sticking with him, man. I don't know.
Well, in the 9th inning, it's like he found a second wind. Started throwing strikes, punched out the first 2 Rebels on called third strikes.
Well, and you saw what happens when you lose your first game in a regional. Ole Miss was depleted of pitching. Murray State had 19 hits in that game last night. Little Rock also almost became the second number 4 seed to advance, but they lost to LSU last night. And taking a look at what the SEC teams have done in this tournament, a lot of carnage.
Is this an exclusive graphic of the show?
This is.
Wow. Kelly, how about that?
Wow.
A record 13 SEC teams made the NCAA tournament, but they set a new record after that for most teams eliminated in the opening weekend of the tournament. 9 of the 13 SEC teams were sent packing.
So do we think in the future that the committee will be less likely to, pack that many of them in there?
I don't, maybe, but
because
I think everybody
13, none of them won.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Mississippi State deserved to be in, maybe not Kentucky, but Kentucky almost won that regional. So
sure did. Blew a 5-run lead in the 8th inning.
I think it's just
in the final game.
It's just the nature of the sport. But pretty crazy. You only got LSU, Arkansas, Auburn, and Tennessee, and 2 of those teams play each other. Arkansas and Tennessee, so you're only guaranteed 3 from the SEC to be in the College World Series. So a lot of carnage. The Super Regional round is set. Of course, Tennessee and Arkansas in Fayetteville. That'll get going Saturday at 4:00. Baumwalker Stadium is going to be rocking for that one this weekend. Auburn hosts Coastal Carolina. LSU hosts West Virginia. And the other SEC, well, that's it for the SEC. Arkansas, Tennessee going at it. So that's what you got for the Supers. Some transfer news. Vandy left-handed pitcher Ethan McIlvain has entered the transfer portal. He struggled a bit this year, but he did have 45 strikeouts in 27 and a third innings. He's a big-time arm. He wasn't as consistent as they needed him to be. The local kid from Nolensville, he's looking elsewhere. And you wonder why he didn't pitch later in the season. He pitched against Tennessee, but these last couple weeks in the SEC tournament, he didn't pitch.
Yeah, was it the Kentucky meltdown here?
Maybe, but you wonder if he had told the staff that he was hitting the portal, and they said, "Okay, you're not seeing the mound." You wonder. Also in college football, Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams joined John Gruden. I don't know if this was his podcast or what, but there was some content put out there. And Ryan Williams, talking about the rematch with Vandy this season, he said, in quote, "We're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer." I guess that's one way of putting it.
Okay.
Of course, it's cheap.
Yeah, more motivation for Diego Pavia and company.
They'll need it.
In baseball, the Braves have named Freddie Gonzalez as acting third base coach. Former manager, the Braves, Matt Tuiasosopo, has accepted a position as minor league infield coordinator. And earlier today on 680 The Fan in Atlanta, Barrett Sallee, who is doing some radio work for the Braves now, he said that Freddie Gonzalez is basically a co-manager after rejoining the staff.
God help us.
It said the front office is putting everyone on notice, but don't expect a full return to the skipper's seat.
No, I'm going to go where I've been going. The likelihood is that Brian Snitker is going to retire at the end of the year. Walt Weiss appears to be kind of the leader in the clubhouse. My long shot, and the guy I want to see get the job, Mark DeRosa. D-Row would be terrific. Freddie Gonzalez, we've already played that tune once.
When you're making moves like that, though, George, is that like the writing on the wall? You see what's coming? I mean, they're trying to get things in place.
I don't know what they're trying to do, to be honest. The third base coach, Matt Tuiasosopo, had a series of runners get thrown out. And somewhere in here, Freddie Gonzalez's name came up. And I've got nothing against Freddie Gonzalez, but I sure as hell don't want him being the Atlanta Braves manager again. We've gone down that road once with him. It wasn't all that good. They can do better than Freddie.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of coaches, fresh off their deepest playoff run in 25 years, the Knicks have fired Coach Tom Thibodeau. This comes just 2 days after the Knicks were eliminated in 6 games by the Pacers. He led them to their first Eastern Conference final in 25 years, made the playoffs in 4 of 5 years, and led them to consecutive 50-plus win seasons for the first time since the 90s.
Okay, this one is going to cause a lot of chatter because the truth of it is, yes, he's a curmudgeon. You can see it. Doesn't look like he's a lot of fun to be around, but I don't know that. I'm just going on body language and press conferences. But the guy did a hell of a job with the Knicks. He really did. And this is one they better be careful because he got them to a level they haven't been in a long time. This one's going to get a lot of chatter.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, too, when you take a team to the Eastern Conference Finals and then you get fired. Like, what is the underlying issue going on?
That he doesn't play enough people. And
is that what it is?
And that in the end, they're exhausted and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. I think if I had been the person making that decision, I would have walked into him and said, look, you're coming back, but it's under the understanding that you're going to play more people. We're going to help you get a better bench, and you're going to play that bench. And if you revert back to the old stuff, you'll be gone. But I don't think this is fair.
Yeah,
Being
that's a two-way.
see what the talking heads say.
Yeah, that's kind of a two-way deal. You got to get me the players, but like he's got to trust them too. So obviously, he didn't trust anybody but what he was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get this. I don't know as much. I mean, I would err on the side of what you said. You know, they're worn down, and he's old school. He's an old school guy.
Oh, he's as old school as it gets. This reminds me a little bit of when Bud Adams fired Bum Phillips. Be careful what you wish for.
That's what I got.
Okay. Interesting. After the break, Kelly, we're going to Knoxville. We'll talk with Tony Basilio about the Vols and what looks like kind of they've found a second wind a little bit in this regional. And now they're one of 16 left. They go to Arkansas, which is a really tough place to play. It's a AAA minor league park, 12,000 seats, and it is one tough place to play. We'll have Tony join us after the break on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Can't watch the race? We got you.
I can't believe it!
NASCAR lives on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Whether it's 102.5 The Game, 94.9 The Fan, or Sports Talk 830, you can hear it all. Just check thegamenashville.com for the full schedule. NASCAR lives here. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Big win for Tennessee last night. As Billy said in the update, this is the 5th consecutive year that they have made the basketball equivalent of the Sweet 16. In baseball, it's the Super Regional. They go to Arkansas, which will not be easy, but it does feel like they may have found a second wind between the end of the SEC tournament and the time they took the field in Knoxville for their regional. Tony Basilio sporting some Eagles gear, EAGLES, joins us here on the show. Tony, how are you?
Hey guys, it's always a good time to rock some Super Bowl gear, man, when you win it all.
Come on, Kelly. I know there's something you're thinking.
No, I'm good. He's right, though. I mean, he's right. And if they, of course, they had a lot of people leave for free agency, but like, you still got key ingredients to that team, so you don't know. I mean, they were really good, and if you can't stop the tush push, you're in trouble, George. I know you don't like that. I know Tony loves it.
Yeah, to me, it's just not.
Yeah, George wants to outlaw it, Tony.
Of course, he's the fun police.
Outlaw it. Just stop it. You know what I'm saying, Tony? Just stop it. Figure it out.
Not stoppable.
Here's something to think about for Tennessee, George. You were just talking about, which is crazy, the Vitello era, because this is an incredible coaching job by him. I mean, just amazing. Because this team really, I don't know how they're still playing. Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida State, Oregon State, West Virginia, the only teams that made the Super Regional last year to get back this year. So it's 5 of the 16. Tennessee's the only SEC team to get there in consecutive seasons. Tennessee's done it, George, 5 straight years.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So what do you think they did from the time they got beat on that Saturday by Vandy? They go back to Knoxville, obviously, and it looked like they found a second wind.
They did nothing different. That's the thing about Tony. There's no panic. It's all process. And that's the formula. The formula is we're going to play loose. We're not going to panic. We're going to believe in what we do. The thing that helped them this weekend was that they recorded 60 of their 108 outs via the strikeout. And so their opponents did not put the ball in play as much, which allowed them to play a cleaner brand of baseball. 55% K rate this weekend. They only committed 4 errors on the weekend, which for them, 4 errors in 4 games is literally about as good as it could possibly get.
So they pitched Liam Doyle last night at the right time, as it feels like Wake might come back. And there he is, for those of you watching by way of podcast. So do they delay starting him to game 2 because of last night? Or is it absolutely he'll be game 1?
No, I think there's a great argument to delay him to starting him for game 2 anyway, because Marcus Phillips has worked with Stone Wallace 4 times this year. Stone Wallace has to start because Tennessee's catcher, Cannon Peebles, is suspended after getting thrown out of last night's game for getting in saying something to the catcher from Wake Forest. You know, these umpires kill me, George, in baseball. At the pro level, these guys have had way too much power for years and years, and we know that. But at the college level, these guys like to play God. I mean, what are you going to change somebody's behavior? These kids talk to each other all the time on baseball fields. If they're not talking to you, what business is it of yours? It's not your business. These pitchers and catchers will police their own game. If things get out of hand, they hit each other with balls. I mean, this thing with throwing a kid out last night in a championship game when you got another round is really a tone deaf thing to do. But I give Tony Vitello a lot of credit because he said, look, you can blame an umpire all you want, but Tony called it foolish. He called getting thrown out of that game foolish, and it's kind of hard to argue with that.
So how long has that rule been in existence? Because obviously on the major league level, you can get tossed. You can also get tossed exchanging the lineup cards. I've seen some managers who got thrown out one night, go hand in the lineup card the next day, tell the umpire you suck, and then he's out the door. Yeah. But how long has that rule been in there?
It's a great question. I mean, that would be maybe a Billy Derrick question, because I distinctly remember that happening at Tennessee back in this year they had the super team, 2024 maybe, or 2022, that Friday night, which really set off the whole weekend when Drew Gilbert got thrown out in the super regional against Notre Dame, and Tennessee had trouble recovering from there. So it seems highly punitive, George, that would carry over. I could see throwing you out of that game, but a one-game suspension, like an automatic one-game suspension, and we don't review, take it to a board and look at it and say, okay, does this deserve another game? Does it deserve 2 games? He didn't say anything to the umpire. It's really strange.
So give me a thought or two here. Overall, the SEC got 1 or 2 more teams bounced than I thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a year from now they pay for that, or does a committee just take each year in and of itself?
No, I think the only way to do this is to take each year in and of itself. The SEC sent 13 teams, 4 survive. Only 3 can make the College World Series because Tennessee and Arkansas play each other. The ACC sent 9 teams, but 5 still remain, which is 1 more than the SEC. Oregon State is the only team to win a regional without winning their first game in the deal, which is remarkable that they're still alive. It takes so much to fight when you lose your first game and get out. But the SEC, I'll tell you this, George, there is SEC fatigue all over the country. I have SEC fatigue. And I know Billy works at a site called Southeastern 16. He's not allowed to say this out loud. He has SEC fatigue. Cheering for the SEC is like, it's like rooting for Wall Street. I mean, what are we doing? We dominate and everything. We've got all the players. We've got all the bells and whistles. I mean, how in the world, not that I want to dig up any old bones, how does Vanderbilt lose to Wright State? George, how many players does Wright State have on their team that Tim Corbin would even think to recruit? Think about how crazy this tournament is.
I think you saw the classic case of a team that, you hear this, the team that is free and easy and loose, goes farther. Well, Vandy last weekend was the total opposite, and their plate discipline in the deciding game that knocked them out was awful, absolutely awful.
How do you explain Texas San Antonio, George, beating Texas twice in a row in their building?
Without having seen any of it, I'm guessing that old Hook'em Horns got a case of the tight you-know-what.
Well, you said it. But to me, it looks like with this sport, and you guys know a lot more about it than I do, but if you can't consistently put the bat on the ball and score runs, you're not going. You're not going to advance in the postseason. You can win a bunch of regular season games because you can do things consistently. Like Vanderbilt was a very consistent team, consistent, very good pitching, consistent fielding, but inconsistent hitting.
Yeah.
I would almost rather be a shoddy fielding team like Tennessee that can put the bat on the ball, and then pitch a little bit like the Vols can as a formula to advance. But the Vandy thing, man, that was just, and they looked. Hey, Wright State kind of ran out of pitching late, but watching that game, I was like, this cannot be happening.
Yeah.
Wright State kind of took it to them. It was very surprising.
So, okay, I'm guessing here that the Tennessee game last night ended around 9:00 your time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How long were you on? Because you have a very entertaining post game.
I wasn't. Because what I've done, George, is I've got Will Heflin now doing the my baseball Garza extra inning show, and the reason is last year I left the Rainier studio in an ambulance after the last year, so I said to myself, I'm gonna take a little lighten my load here. Nobody getting younger here, and I don't want to take another ride in an ambulance. So I let him and Matt Dixon do it last night, and they were on for a couple of hours. And people are really celebrating because to win a national championship, come back the next year and even qualify for the tournament is hard these days. To qualify for the tournament, get through that round, and Tennessee had to exhaust everything they had because this is not a vintage Tony Vitello baseball team. They're okay. They're pretty good. This kid last night, this Doyle guy, you mentioned him earlier, George.
Yeah.
He is a force of nature in college baseball. He commanded the moment last night. Wake's head coach called a timeout to slow him down because he was just mowing him down. He sat there and was snarling at the kid. Get in the box. You're done. Get in the box. You're done. You're done. You're mine. While he was talking to the coach, Doyle was doing that. You're mine. You're mine. Get in the box. You're mine.
I have found watching Sunday night when I got home around 5:00, the fun meter of this tournament is up the charts huge. Yep. Man, is it fun.
Yep. It is. But you know what? I called my boy Billy Derrick because that's my boy right there. I go to him for perspective, on this sport because I don't know the sport like Billy does, and so I say, Billy, because I'm writing my blog over at tclub.team. I say, put this in words for me. What do you? He goes, Tony, I haven't watched anything since Vanderbilt got beat. I go, what, Billy? The tournament's over for you? He goes, yeah, the tournament's over for me for now. Now I got to ask Billy, are you back? Are you back watching it again? Or are you done? Are we still done here? Or what are we, buddy?
Yeah, I think I'm back now. But that
Okay.
Sunday was brutal.
That's your story. I'm not making that up, am I, Billy?
No, you're right.
Because Kelly, I came to him. I was working on my blog, and I wanted to know, compared to past years, what does this thing mean? Sort of like George is like I am. Like, I love to watch these sports, so I'm going to watch them. If my team gets beat, they get beat. I'm going to keep watching. Billy's sitting it out, Kelly. He had enough.
Hey, it's the first time Billy's let you down, but if you keep on messing with him, it won't be the last.
No way,
I promise you.
I'm going to tell you something about Billy Derrick. That kid's got presence about him. And perspective, George. Presence and perspective, George Plaster. I'll tell you that.
Kelly, your reaction to that is?
He's got some presence to go get us some water or a drink or something. That's what his presence is.
Whatever.
I'm telling you, it's like Tennessee losing to Miami of Ohio, though. I mean, you'd be pretty down, right?
I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, I was just like,
it was pretty shocking.
And George, and then the guy in the Tennesseans, that Gentry Estes,
Yep.
I mean, he blasted that coach.
It's a good
Like,
piece.
that just doesn't happen there, does it, guys?
Well, I think
I think
what he really was trying to say was, look, that they're uptight and something has got to untie. You know, you cannot go into this stuff tighter than whatever. Sunday, they look to me scared.
But you know what? When you're playing somebody and you're supposed to win and they jump on you early, that can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
That is that game. You know, you score the first couple of, like last night, Wake scores the first couple runs. There's no guarantee you're scoring. I mean, you know, like that's the mystery of baseball, you know, and hitting it comes and goes. And I think about Arkansas this weekend. Tennessee's got nothing to prove. They got no pressure on them at all. I mean, none. Arkansas, they're kind of a Vandy spot. They have not advanced out of this round in their building pre-COVID is the last time they did it. I mean, we're working on 5-6 years now. And if you can get up early on them in that first game, that crowd starts doing this. Like George, you're a Braves fan. I'm a Phillies fan. Last couple years, the Phillies crowd sat right on top of them because that crowd knows what's getting ready to happen. And when that baseball crowd sits on you, they crush you as a baseball team. I believe that.
I don't want to play the Phillies anymore. Kelly?
Well, I mean, but the Phillies have crashed out the last couple of years
I know
in front of their crowd.
I know it.
Just like the Braves, you know, and it's weird. When it starts to happen to you, it's a weird feeling.
It's a snowball that doesn't seem to stop.
No.
Kelly, say hello to Tony Basilio.
Tony, my simple mind goes back to the ambulance drive. What happened, man? Did you have a cut on your finger? What happened?
So I was coming back from an eye appointment, and which I never made, and because I was feeling funny, and when I was driving back, I had the stomach thing, the thing they always talk about in your stomach, and then the vision closed in on me. I had what they call the syncope, you know, like when you pass out, and I passed out in my basement. I fell over. They found me down here, and I was like seriously like semi-conscious. And the ambulance came, and I took an ambulance ride. And my doctor said, you might want to slow down. You might want to just kind of, we're glad you work all the time, but you might want to, you know, you might want to slow yourself down. So
that's a crazy story, Tony.
True story.
You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself, man.
By the way, that group you've turned it over to does a really nice job.
Hey, man, that's what we're growing the Mars broadcasters today, George. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Hey, so Tony, tell me this: 13 teams, you get 4 going to super regionals. Was the SEC were they just okay this year? Everybody thought they were better. I know you talk about fatigue, but do you think that's kind of it?
No, look, I just think that baseball's a sport where, you know, Florida, they didn't play well. Alabama didn't play well. Georgia didn't play well. Ole Miss fell down 12-2 last night and came back and made it 12-11 and had runners on base and could have advanced. Texas and Vanderbilt, I think, were easy to look at and say, hey, those teams are going to get picked off because you have to hit the baseball. Texas was all pitching this year, and that's great. You know, and you can win a bunch of games being all pitching. I think Arkansas and LSU are the 2 best SEC teams left. And I think both those teams are going to advance. And I don't know about Auburn, but this Tennessee team has had a hell of a year. And they have warts, but they also have a lot of good things going for them. Look, when you throw Phillips and you throw Doyle out there as your starting pitchers, and if you hit the baseball a little bit, you can get through this round. But there's not a great team this year in college baseball. There hasn't been a great team this year in college baseball, really. So it's anybody's season.
Let me ask you this, and this is kind of the question of the week. I'm sorry, I've asked this to everybody. I want to get your opinion on it because I asked Willie yesterday, Willie Donick, about it. With all the stuff that's going on in college sports and college baseball, we're talking about college baseball, but you got the transfer portal, you got the NIL stuff, and now you've got the Murray States of the world and the Arkansas Little Rocks giving LSU all they want. Wright State beating Vanderbilt. You've got kids that are transferring that don't care about the NIL. They just want to play baseball. And you get a lot of guys that, feel entitled and, they want all this money and all this. And it seems like, when you hit adversity, that's what college was about. You go to develop and you try to become the best you can be. And nowadays you got kids going in there and they're saying, as a freshman, if I don't start, I'm getting out of here. I'm going somewhere else. And then once they face adversity, they just leave and they go somewhere else, and then they finally have to play, and they've never really had any adversity. And then when adversity hits you on the field and you're in a tight game in the end, like it seems like that's going on right now. Are we going to see more of that? Like the Wright States and the Arkansas Little Rocks and the Murray States, who's getting better players, beat some of these bigger teams because you get kids that really want it. And you get some of these guys on these big schools and then these power conferences are like, I'm getting paid. I mean, if we win, we win, but I don't really care.
I don't know if you guys have seen the language in the house ruling, but I think baseball is going to get crazier. And here's why. If that house ruling goes through and they even adhere to it for one season, they're talking about 34 you have to take 34 scholarships in Division I, okay? Which means you can't stash 50 kids anymore. The Tennessees, the Vanderbilts, the Texas of the world, they're stashing 55, 60 kids on their campuses. They bring them in the fall ball. Some of them don't make the team, but kind of, or around the team and all that. We all know this. It's like a dirty little secret. 34 kids now. You're capped at 34 kids. Those players all have to go somewhere. And Kelly, the thought I have for you is this. I think about guys like you. You played at middle, right? But then you get to go to an NFL camp. How fired up were you when you first went across and got to compete with those guys that were in, quote unquote, the big time college football? And you looked at them and you said, you're no damn better than I am. We're all athletes. I worked out every day. I'm a competitor. I think about those Wright State kids. Those Wright State kids were out there going, and there's something said for this. I'm a competitor. We hear about you. We read about you at D1 baseball. You're number one. You're this. You're that. You're going to the draft. Well, screw you. I'm going to beat you today. I'm going to make you like it. And it's kind of the, there's something to be said for that. I mean, and that is a beautiful thing about this tournament. In football, if I'm physically better than you and I have enough dudes, I will run you over. In baseball, I can't run you over. I have to execute. I have to play better than you. I have to make pitches. I have to field the baseball. I've got to concentrate. And these teams that bear down and do that, Texas San Antonio beating Texas, to me is a beautiful thing. I mean, I know it's the SEC losing and it should bother me. But again, cheering for the SEC right now is like cheering for Wall Street. I'm sorry.
But I heard that, man. So there is some fatigue, you think?
I mean, I'm here and I'm sick of it.
Everywhere but in the South.
Well, I mean, George, don't you get sick of it? I get sick of it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, well, some of it to me comes from this commissioner.
No doubt.
He doesn't help it at all with some of his attitudes, which are hooray for the SEC and screw all the rest of you.
Right. I mean, this guy wants to expand the NCAA tournament so he can put all 16 of his teams in the tournament. I mean, what the hell? I mean, what is that, dude?
It's the new age. It's new age. Well, that's what society wants now. Nobody wants to work for anything.
At the end of the day, I love it. I hope that the Coastals of the world and some of these other schools, I hope they live and fight on, man. And that freaking, I'll tell you what, man, that Wright State team and some of the other things we saw over the weekend. I mean, how about Southern Miss the other night? They disrespected Columbia so much in their first game that they threw their weekend or midweek starter against them, George, and it got them beat.
Got them beat. Sure did.
Got them beat in their regional because that Columbia team went out there and scored 9 runs on that kid they threw out there. 9 runs.
Yeah, Southern Miss, I don't know. They're not the team to do that.
No, I mean who are you? It's like, what are you kidding me? You're freaking Southern Miss.
Billy, do you have a question or two for your daddy before we end this?
Oh, thank you. So this is the Tony to Watson dynamic. Tony, the crowd felt like willed Tennessee to victory a little bit last night. Have you seen it like that this season?
No.
And because I don't think people talk about how much that crowd helps Tennessee. There's no other crowd like it.
Well,
I'll
tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened last night, Billy. They have not been into games much this year at all because they haven't played well there. And then Sunday's game, the crowd was not very good. In fact, they got up and left early. So we just ripped them. And Will Heflin, who played for Tennessee, did our post game. He ripped them after Sunday's game, and rightfully so. Last night, what happened, I think, there's a dynamic where, when you have one of these regionals, that's 4 games in 4 days. A lot of the upper crust people sort of bowed out and flipped their tickets to people that really wanted to be there. And so, like when I watch Vandy games, during the year, I've told you guys this, and I see all those empty seats behind those really good seats, that's happened at Tennessee now. And we love the money people. You got to have the money people today. You got to have them, but they just sit on their tickets, or when they come to games, they just sit on their fannies, and they don't, they're not going to act like I would act at a game because I'm classless. So, at the end of the day, you don't get people that are out of control. There last night, you had a bunch of people that I would say wanted to be there, and they set a tone from the very beginning. And again, I'm back to this: a postseason crowd in a home stadium can help you, or a postseason crowd can hurt you. When a postseason crowd does that murmur thing on you, and you get that pressure on you, it hurts you. When a postseason crowd exhorts you and starts rocking the other pitchers, man, look, if I can get to you at the major league level rocking a pitcher, imagine what I could do at the major college level. Last night, Tennessee's crowd really, really helped them. Really helped.
That is a quote for the ages right there, what he said about what a crowd can or can't do. Okay, end of the interview. For somebody in Middle Tennessee who has never listened to you, how do they do it?
Well, why would you want to listen to me after listening to this segment? 15 minutes of your life you'll never get back. However, tclub.team is where you find us. And George Plaster is first ballot, HOF, bow thy head when you say thy name. And Kelly Holcomb, I'll give you a lot of credit, man. Your eye contact was excellent today. You stayed locked in, brother. Locked in on a June day. Locked in, my man.
I just can't get over the classless quote, because if I looked at you, I'd never think you were classless.
Oh no, just a guy that if I get any uglier on these appearances, I'm going to hang myself upside down like Al Lewis, Grandpa Munster, and do an appearance upside down one day with you guys.
Do it. Let's do it.
Thank you, boys.
Talk soon.
Thank you, boys.
He is absolutely the best. I love when we have him on, and clearly you all do too. He's a terrific entertainer as a sports talk show host, period. Okay, after the break, let's talk about some of what he put out there for us. In the 4:00 hour, Terry McCormick right off the bat with OTAs going on at the Titans. Then Sounds play-by-play voice Jeff Him. We got a lot more coming on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Attention sports fans. The George Plaster Show will broadcast live this Friday from the grand opening of X Golf at 209 South Royal Oaks in Franklin. If you love golf in any form or fashion, this is where you need to be. Experience the future of golf through the world's most accurate simulator. See you in Franklin on Friday. Of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
This will be a quick third segment of the show. For me, one of the most important things he brought up was near the end about crowds. That a crowd can push a team forward, but there are absolutely nights at certain sporting events where a crowd gives it the, oh, crap, we're in trouble. And you can feel it. Guys, y'all have been in arenas, stadiums. You can feel it.
Energy, man. I've been in them when I'm playing football. You just feel like everything's going okay. Everything's going okay. Even when I was with the Browns and we weren't very good, we would start off good, and then you could just sense something was coming, and the crowd would be on their, they'd be sitting on their hands and nothing's happening, and then something bad happens, and then we lose a game, and we were in that bad habit of losing games, and that becomes a habit. When winning becomes a habit when you're the New England Patriots with Tom Brady. You just felt like somebody was going to make a play to win a game and to go to the Super Bowl. And then when you're losing, it becomes a habit as well. Everything's going good, and then everybody's just on, pins and needles thinking, oh my goodness, who's going to mess this up? And then, when you got stinking thinking, something stinking happens, and that's that happened to me a bunch. So crowds can get you over the top, but they can also be a downer to you too. You can feel the energy in the arena.
A good example is what happened to Vandy on Sunday. You have the loss to Louisville Saturday night. You got to turn around and play that was a 2:00 game on Sunday. Turn around, get to the park 11 a.m. most likely, and get back and play a Wright State team that again has nothing to lose. Wright State hits 2 early home runs, and boom, there's the oh no factor that comes into the stadium and the team. It's early for baseball. The first few innings is really important. And if you're a team like Vandy that just lost and you're already probably playing a little tight and saying, oh, we cannot lose this one. Well, the moment there's a couple of early home runs or a couple of mistakes early, it goes downhill typically from there.
He brought up Braves Phillies. I was at game 1 2 years ago when the Braves were riding high. They got Spencer Strider pitching. Philly gets up 2-0. And about the 5th inning, as they're getting nothing done, all of a sudden the air just got sucked out of Truist Park. And, I feel it as a spectator, and they feel it.
Absolutely. You do. You just sense it. And a lot of times bad things happen.
What else did y'all take out of all that?
I mean, the crowd, the Tennessee crowd. I mean, they pulled through, and Tony, he mentioned how it really wasn't all that great the first couple of games, but they come around, they pull through, and it's, fan base can help you also. And I thought that was a good example of how a fan base can rally around a team last night, just like they did with Liam Doyle.
George, the things that I took out of in my teen mind was the ambulance ride and the classless comment. Because I would never think about Tony being classless. Really? He's from Philly. Come on, man.
I love when he started on you about good eye contact.
I love that.
He does it every week.
I
Can't
know.
wait till I see him
But
one day.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Just depends on how he acts.
We've got to get him to the bowling event.
That'd be good.
That's where it needs to happen.
That's a good event, George. It
think
truly
it's a
is,
goal.
man. I mess with you all the time, but that's a good thing you do.
We need to get him there.
I agree. He'd have
We'll
fun.
work on that. Oh, absolutely he would. Okay, so the quickest segment probably in the history of the show. Wasn't all that good, but it was a good segue to what's coming. Stat of the day, where we are, Kelly, a perfect 1-0.
Nice. Have we still got phone a friend?
Well, if need be, because if you don't cheat, you're cheating yourself.
I like it. That's a good cliche, George. I like it.
Yeah. So that's coming. So is Terry McCormick. We'll talk about what went on today out at the Titans training complex. And then later in the hour, Jeff Him, the Gwinnett Braves are they're actually the Stripers. I don't know what that's all about, but they're the Gwinnett Stripers. They're in town. They're the Braves, AAA affiliate on a summer that is quickly becoming the baseball summer of my discontent. This is 94.9 The Fan.
For your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the information superhighway. Oh, they don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network. Listen on the air.
So don't tell me to chill out.
On the web at thegamenashville.com.
This team has strategically put themselves back in the mix.
Watch us on YouTube or download the Game Nashville app.
You have to make those plays.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Give Dad what he really wants this Father's Day with gifts from Electronic Express. We've got the latest tech, hottest grills, and top-of-the-line home entertainment to help you celebrate Father's Day in style. Looking for appliances to help him finish that kitchen project? We've got that too, with free delivery, guaranteed lowest prices, and up to 24 months free financing. Make this Father's Day one he'll remember. Shop in store or online at electronicexpress.com.
If you're looking for fun for the family, look no further than Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. The bowling is a blast. The people around it make it even better. And you know what? They've got a staff that will make sure you have a good time. So don't wait. Go have some bowling fun at Strike and Spare, the official home of the 4th annual Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Nashville, the semifinals of the PFL World Tournament begin Thursday, June 12th. Former welterweight world champion Jason Jackson takes on rising star the Silverback Thad Gene, plus 2023 PFL World Champ Jesus Pinedo and Gabriel Braga collide in a highly anticipated trilogy match. Don't miss your chance to see the action live June 12th at Municipal Auditorium in Nashville. Visit pflmma.com/schedule for more info.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Talking a little Titans with Terry McCormick coming up next. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right. We're going college baseball today. Seems to be a theme of the show. Murray State became the 10th number 4 seed to advance to the Super Regionals since the current format was instituted in 1999. Who was the last 4 seed to win a regional?
Ooh.
On a friend, Terry.
Oh, yeah. This is hard. Does anybody know this one? Billy, I
don't know.
I suspect that you have seen the answer. Did you know it?
I mean, I formulated this one because Ty wasn't able to today.
So this one's yours.
Y'all aren't. I mean, y'all will be kicking yourself about this one. I'll say that.
Is it a yeah. Kicking ourselves, huh? Is it teams that we've talked about today?
Not that team specifically, but in a way, yes.
Feels like USC. They played like a 4 seed last night.
I have no clue, George. I really don't. I don't even know who to think.
Kelly, put it up there. Got no idea.
Evansville.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, they were a 4.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The Purple Aces.
Yes. Should have gotten that. Shame on us.
Yeah. I don't think I would have. That's a hard one because you don't always think about the seed numbers with these teams. But I mean, obviously, Evansville would have been a 4 either way.
Yeah. Okay, go back to the question for a second. So Evansville, Murray State became the 10th 4 seed since 99. That's pretty remarkable. Listen, again, congratulations to that group, because I'm telling you, and those of you who watched the last few innings, you talk about intense pressure.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, really good baseball team. They got about 10,500 people in their corner. Felt like about 100 Murray State people that were there, although that's probably not true. And the pressure was on for the last hour, and somehow they withstood it. And I'll be honest, I didn't think they could. Good for them.
You're talking about crowds, George. Can you imagine the ups and downs that the Ole Miss fans were going through?
Yeah. Because I'm sure a few of them left down 12-3, a little disgusted. Anyway, congrats to Murray State. Congrats a year ago to Evansville. The Purple Aces. That's good stuff. Okay, 4 o'clock hour now officially, maybe a couple of minutes after, as we welcome all of you back to our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. We have not been here in a while, so Kelly, in case you forgot what the backdrop looked like, there it is. Part of the Predator.
I've seen it, George. I know where you are.
Okay. So where is Terry? We've got him on, don't we?
Yep.
Titan OTAs going on today, and Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitanInsider.com, joining us with details. Terry, how are you?
Doing well, George. How are you?
Good. So I'm going to play dumb. What are the maybe 2 or 3 most important things to take out of today?
Well, obviously, when you talk about the Titans and their current situation, a lot of the focus is on Cam Ward. He had what I would say an up and down day. Missed a couple of throws, had a couple of passes dropped, made a couple of really nice tosses out there as well. So learning the rigors as a rookie quarterback and, just kind of, going through and trying to make sure he's on top of things. I think, a lot of people making a big deal out of how early he's been coming in, sometimes at 5 a.m. and getting in, lots of work with some of the other rookies in the classroom. And certainly that sets, a good example for everybody, including the veterans, because when as Calvin Ridley said, you want your quarterback to be one of the first guys in there. And if he's not, then you better be looking for another quarterback. So Ward is certainly doing the right things in that regard.
Kelly, is it simply speed of the game compared to what he dealt with in college that creates this?
Yeah, and the terminology. I mean, everybody runs. I've told you all this. A curl route, you can call it a curl, you can call it a button hook, you can call it a stop route. It's just the terminology you got to get, and then it's the speed of the game. All those guys are fast. Even though you're at a big school, you didn't have all that around you all the time. But when you get to the National Football League, the speed is the thing that's really impressive. And it was funny when I used to go down to the Titan stadiums and see my old teams. I would take guys with me, and they're like, God, these guys are so big, but they're so fast. And I'm like, that's what separates college from the pros, just the speed of the game. And it does take you a little bit as a college guy to get used to that, and thrown in there with all the terminology, and thrown in there with being the number one pick. I mean, that's a tough deal, but it's good to hear that he's the first one in the building. That's really what, and I don't think there's anything phony about that. I think that's who he is. I think when you get no offers coming out of high school, and then you had the route that he went, and it just kept getting better and better and better. I think that's why he's where he is. He likes working. He loves the game. He's going to study the game, and I don't think that's phony.
Terry, tell us. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. We talked to Calvin Ridley, and Calvin has kind of become fast friends with Cam Ward as he takes part in this process of being the veteran receiver and trying to get Ward up to speed as quickly as possible. And he said that, you can tell, with the way that Cam, just the first time he met him, that he just has that calmness and that approach where it looks like he belongs. It's not fake and it's not phony. He's a guy that, is going to do what it takes to not just fit in, but I think become a leader.
Terry, give me a couple more things that came out of today that we need to focus on.
Okay. The best throw of the day, honestly, was made from Will Levis. I mean, he threw a beautiful back shoulder to Van Jefferson that he went up. Ball was high enough where the receiver was able to high point the ball. The defender had no shot at it. It was really a nice looking play. I'm gonna be honest with you. I see a motivated and different Will Levis. Now, it may not ever translate into very much playing time if Cam Ward does what they hope he's going to do, but you do see a better and more focused Levis than I think you saw last year. And maybe some of it is just, the sense of urgency. Some of it is probably the fact that he's a little more comfortable in the system. But for whatever reason, he does look more poised and better, and looks like he's, determined to put his best foot forward. And then the other thing, a lot of people have been wondering if the Restrepo kid, if it's going to translate, if the slow 40 time is going to hold him back. Well, there were a couple plays today where he and Cam Ward got together, and it was like they hadn't missed a beat from their Miami days. He threw one, and Jarvis Brownlee had really good coverage. Ward threaded the needle, and Restrepo made a nice little diving catch there on a little crossing route. And I think this kid, if he can find a role on special teams and he keeps making plays like he did today, I think he's got a shot somewhere on the roster.
Kelly, Terry just mentioned how Levis is looking motivated and throwing the ball well. It made me think of you. You've been in that spot. Can bringing a rookie or even bringing in just another quarterback in general fire you up as a guy that maybe you can feel it from the organization that might be souring on you a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think you can stick your head in the sand and be like a woe is me guy. I think you got to go out because hey, he's trying to get his career going. He didn't. It wasn't what he expected last year. Thought it would be better, and it wasn't. He got kind of baptized into the National Football League. He didn't have a very good team around him. But I'll be honest with you, I like hearing that. What Terry's telling me about Will Levis, like at least he's got something about him. A lot of guys melt and wither under that deal, and they bellyache and they say, hey. They don't like me. The coach doesn't like. He's not doing that. He's getting better. And you know what? Even if he's not here in Tennessee, which he's a first-round pick, and we've talked about he's the first pick of the draft. Talking about Cam Ward, it's going to be Cam Ward's job at some point. Don't know when, but if Will Levis keeps progressing, I mean, there's 31 other teams out there that are looking, and then if he plays well and he comes in and I don't know if he's going to start, but like if he comes in, he plays and he does well. There'll be people, looking to get, in contact with the Titans to bring Will Levis in. So I like that because that means he's got something about him and he's not giving up. And I think that's a positive thing for the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Kelly. I think that's, he knows his back's against the wall. And I think the Titans are handling things a little bit differently, too, in that they're, like we talked last week, how they're not handing Cam Ward the job right off. They're making him go through the process of earning it. And maybe that's something that hurt Will Levis a little bit last year. Maybe they should have done that and said, hey, show us you're the guy, as opposed to from ownership on down saying, hey, this is the guy and we're building around him, because that certainly didn't work out the way anybody thought it would.
Terry, how long does this group of OTAs go, and what else should we be looking for?
Well, it'll go, I think, another day this week, and then it's not open to the media. But then next week is the mandatory mini camp, and so it will be open to the media. And there might even be a Jeffrey Simmons sighting next week. He's been staying away from the OTAs, but when it gets to be mandatory, generally guys show up because they don't like money being taken out of their pockets. So I'm guessing that Simmons will be in his his little vacation or staying away, and he'll be back with his teammates next week.
What do you make of that?
Well, he worked out on his own last year. I asked Tracy Rocker about it, and Rocker said he's been in touch with him and all, that Jeff is just simply more comfortable working out on his own. Some guys are. Some guys feel like they've earned the right to do that because these are voluntary. Like Derrick Henry would usually stay away and work on his own, and he certainly didn't suffer for it. Some guys can do it and get away with it. Other guys need the structure of the team environment around him during this time. Simmons obviously feels like that he's at the point in his career where whatever he does on his own is good enough.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for Terry before we let him go?
I do want to know this. I know it's hard to find out anything in OTAs because there's no pads. It's not true football. But, have you heard anything from management about how they feel about how they did in the draft? I know it's really early. I understand that. But they feel good about the guys that they drafted, Terry?
Yeah, I think so. And you're right. It's very early in the process. But I think they feel like that the guys that they've brought in here at least are going to help lay the foundation. I mean, when you look at where this team is and, they're now embracing a rebuild, I think you've got to have guys who can be foundational pieces. And that's not just Cam Ward at the top being the number one pick and being your future franchise quarterback, you hope, but it takes all the way up and down the roster. It takes guys, buying into what you're selling to, create that culture. And I think that what they're trying to do is immerse these rookies into that culture, have guys who work hard and guys that want to learn together. And really that's when you've been down as far as the Titans have been the last couple of years, that's really about the only way you can go about it, unless you somehow catch lightning in a bottle like the Commanders did with Jaden Daniels. The more tried and true way to, and conventional way of getting yourself back together is to draft well and then develop those guys into players. guys, not like I said, not just high picks, but middle and late round picks and even undrafted guys as well.
Terry, you were a good man to do this. Appreciate it as always.
All right. You guys have a good one.
Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitanInsider.com. So Billy apparently earlier put his own stat of the day together.
Mm-hmm.
I got one that'll top it.
Mm.
In the month of May, Scotty Scheffler won as many tournaments as the Colorado Rockies won games.
Oh, wow.
3-3.
It's crazy.
That is insane.
It's amazing, too, that Scotty Scheffler gave the green jacket to Rory McIlroy, and he had not won a tournament yet. And now he's won 3. And he's probably the favorite to win the U.S. Open. Like, the dude he's a machine. We've had the Tiger era, but, like, watching him play golf and being a golfer and to see what those guys do anyway, but see what Scotty Scheffler's doing, it's crazy. It's been a while since we've had another, and you can't say he's another Tiger, because Tiger is kind of an elite, like Jack Nicklaus, Tiger, and all those guys. But like what Scotty Scheffler's doing right now is he's very consistent. He's on the leaderboard every week that he plays.
After the break, by the way, was that not a crazy?
That was good. That's crazy.
By the way, the Rockies won last night.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, they won a road game. Of course, it was against the Marlins, who, let me say this, I got no room to talk. Woo.
The Bravos.
So after the break, Nashville Sounds play-by-play voice Jeff Him will join us. Gwinnett, the Braves' AAA affiliate, is in town this week, tonight through Sunday afternoon. Believe me, I want to know about Craig Kimbrell. We'll ask Jeff that when we come back. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
The Nashville Cats are charging towards the playoffs. Tune in for their next game against Corpus Christi, Sunday, June 1st at 5 p.m. Catch the live play-by-play action on Totally Hits 93.3. For tickets, go to NashvilleCats.com. That's NashvilleCats.com.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, Dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the information superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password we're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
The Sounds are back home starting tonight and running through Sunday afternoon. The Gwinnett Stripers, AAA affiliate of your Atlanta Braves, are the opponent. We head out to First Horizon Park, where Sounds play-by-play voice Jeff Him is ready and willing to go on what I would say was short notice, partly because I forgot this morning to text you.
Hello, guys. How we doing?
I'm good. You doing okay?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful night for a ball game tonight, and I'm glad to be back home. As much as I enjoy Indianapolis, which is where we were last week, it's one of my favorite spots in our league. There's nothing like being back home, and we've got a good night for it tonight, so I'm excited.
So what is now, I guess this has been 3 or 4 years now that the minor leagues have gone on this 6 at home, 6 on the road. What's the reaction to that?
I think it's been positive for every angle that someone could come from on that topic. First of all, if I'm a fan, I don't have to think, okay, it's a Thursday, would they be home? I think the fans can get conditioned into knowing that other than the rare occasion of a holiday falling on a Monday or some timing in and out of the 4th of July, we don't play on Mondays. We play Tuesday through Sunday. And other than the rare 2-week homestand or 2-week road trip, it's like you said, it's home, road, home, road, home, road. So it's easy for a fan to get conditioned to the layout of the schedule. I know the player development people like it for, setting up the pitching staff for all the affiliates going into the week. Everybody, A-ball, AA, AAA, everybody's on the same schedule with that. All the levels are doing the Tuesday to Sunday. So I think it's good. And then I think from a player health standpoint, I think having the 1 day off a week is beneficial. I know for the broadcaster, 1 day off a week is nice. I feel healthier in the middle of June than I might in the old Pacific Coast League days where you're going 18 days in a row without an off day. And then when you do get an off day, it might be on a Monday, it might be on a Thursday, it might be on a Wednesday. So I just think it's good for everybody. I think that there's player health benefit. I think there's scheduling benefit. I think there's fan benefit. So I like that this has stayed, and the fact that you're right, it's been since 2021. It was COVID driven of, hey, let's not be on the bus as often. Let's not be in the airport as often. Let's do 6 games instead of 3 or 4. It was post-COVID driven. And then I think everybody realized, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There is no reason to get away from this format for all the reasons I just mentioned. So again, if we're having this conversation 5 years from now, I would be surprised if this schedule format were not in place. I just think it's positive from every angle.
Yeah. So it won't come as any big surprise. This is quickly becoming a summer of my baseball discontent. My team is not getting it done.
Is this the portion of the show where I try to make George feel better about the Braves? Is that what we're doing here?
Dr. Phil, you got to be a little Dr. Phil, Jeff.
A little self-esteem stuff. So in Gwinnett, there is one player that I'm very interested in because up above Gwinnett, our bullpen sucks. Just pure and simple. You got a future Hall of Famer in Craig Kimbrell down at Gwinnett. Give me the scouting report. Could he help them?
Look, first of all, the very, very, very short answer is I want to see him a couple times this week, and then I'll really give you my personal take. But I'll give you a little bit of background of my perspective. I mean, we had this conversation, George. We were last in Gwinnett at the very end of April, first couple days of May, so a month. Okay, so
right.
we had this Braves-related specific conversation a month ago. At that time, we saw Kimbrell, I think, twice in that 6-game series, and he had just recently gotten to the Stripers because he had signed late, and it wasn't a rehab assignment officially, but it sort of felt like one. It was, let's see what he's got. Let's get him back into, higher intensity and higher competition games because he had been down at one of their lower affiliates. So that was a month ago, and I would say, I'm not going to pretend to be a scout or a pitching coach. I would say he looked okay in those couple of games that we saw him a month ago. I was because I had a feeling this topic would come up with you today, George. I was just looking at some of the numbers before we came on. He's, now he has worked in 14 outings. He's got a 1.32 ERA. Batters are only hitting $130. Now he's walked 7 in 13 innings. That's not a great ratio. He's got 15 strikeouts in 13 innings. So if I didn't know the last name of the player, I would say, hey, interesting. Seems like a pretty good pitcher. Maybe this is a guy who's got some potential. If I just blindly looked at those numbers for any AAA pitcher, not even knowing what parent club are we talking about, what situation, just looking at those numbers, those are pretty good AAA numbers. Then when you find out that it's Craig Kimbrell and that a month ago he was just trying to literally and figuratively get back into form, and it looked okay, and clearly he's been pitching better and better. If those numbers are what they are, I would think that's definitely a guy that could help a big league team. And then when you add in the part you mentioned where, and you know better than I do, the Braves bullpen having some struggles, it definitely would seem like a guy that could help. I'm sure they have their reasons, and I'm not going to pretend to know more than I know. But the resume combined with how the numbers have been trending, you have to think he would get an opportunity, right? I mean, you don't go back down that road with a player that you have that much history with, who then goes out and performs that well, and then you're having big league bullpen issues of some sort. You don't go down that road without the idea that you can bring him back up, and so. Look, I've not asked anybody here yet specifically about that situation, but man, all the ingredients would seem to me to be there for him to get a look up there. And if it goes on a few more weeks, then you're starting to wonder what's taking so long or what else might be going on. And that's where I don't know. But those numbers and that resume, that's a pretty good combination for a team that's looking for all the ingredients it can find right now to try to get things going up there. So I don't know if I made you feel any better, but that's my take. I mean, like I said, a month ago, if you'd asked me and said, well, he just got here, they signed him late, give him a few outings, and now it's kind of getting into that period where it's gone on from the outside looking in. It seems like it's gone on enough of a sample size where they've got to feel one way or the other about what direction it's headed, and you would think it would be headed in a direction of him getting another opportunity.
Billy Wagner got in. Will Craig Kimbrell be a Hall of Famer?
Whew, that's a good. I would think so. Again, that resume. He's won. Is it just the one? How many World Series? He won the one with Boston. I'm looking at Baseball Reference right now. He won one World Series, 9-time All-Star. My goodness.
Saves, would he not be in the top 10 all time?
Yeah,
he's gone over 400.
Yeah, he's got 440. And I mean, yes, to answer your question, the shortest form, I would think Hall of Famer. He ranks 5th all time in saves.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Mariano Rivera was a freak. He and Trevor Hoffman both over 600. But yeah, I mean, Craig Kimbrell. I love the Baseball Reference site because it gives you it takes into account everything, and then gives you those similarity scores. Well, his similarity score, his top 3 are Kenley Jansen, Francisco Rodriguez, Billy Wagner, Aroldis Chapman, Joe Nathan. That's the top 5. So some Hall of Famers in there. Similarity based on age: Mariano Rivera, Lee Smith, Trevor Hoffman. So he is right in that mix with some other Hall of Famers. That's a really fun conversation because initially I wanted to say slam dunk, yes. And I'm not saying I'm not still saying that, but you look at the other names and he's, based on some of those numbers, he's right in that mix. I would imagine he would be a Hall of Famer, maybe not first ballot, but Hall of Famer, certainly somewhere along the course of time, you would think.
Owns a home in the Shelbyville area, for what it's worth.
Oh,
okay, give me a quick, before I turn it to Kelly. How are the Sounds playing?
Sounds are playing well. So last week in Indianapolis was their first losing series in their last 8. They had won 6 series in a row and split 1. And when you're playing the topic we talked about, a 6-game series, that's not easy to do. They have had a really good 2 months. They're coming into tonight 10 games over 500. And I'm really excited about tonight's game because Brandon Woodruff is again going to make a Brewers rehab appearance, 2-time All-Star. And if it all goes well, this could be the last one for Woodruff before the Brewers would reinstate him this weekend. His battery mate is going to be one of the top prospects in baseball who just got re-added today, a catcher by the name of Jefferson Caro, who's 22 years old. He was with us on opening day last year. We're in Toledo. He walks in his first at-bat of the season. He is chased back to the bag on a pickoff attempt, hurts his shoulder in the first half inning of the first game of the year, and ends up missing the rest of the season due to shoulder surgery, I should say. So it's been a long road back for Caro. He was a minor league Gold Glove award-winning catcher 2 years ago. He's one of the top catching prospects in the game, and he's just being added to our roster before the game for tonight. And it was in Arizona, rehabbing, a long road back, and he's here. So that's a pretty fun battery tonight of Woodruff on the mound trying to get back to the Brewers, and Caro back at AAA for the first time since the first inning of opening day last year. So what's already a really good Sounds team has a couple of ringers, I guess, in the battery tonight with the pitcher and catcher. So it should be a fun week here in Gwinnett, seeing those two guys getting started tonight with the Sounds.
Love it. Kelly, what do you got?
Yeah, so Indianapolis, man, you brought back some delicious memories. Have you eaten at St. Elmo's Steakhouse?
I did not. I know some members of our traveling party did the other night. I don't have your coin, Kelly, so I can't afford St. Elmo's.
Here we go.
So
have you not eaten there before, Jeff?
I have not. So it's only my third time. Hold on. Before you just slam, you still might slam me, but let me defend myself here. It's only the third time because we've gone there every other year in these last 5 years. I've driven through Indy many times, but I did not go to St. Elmo's. I went to a different establishment the other night when we had the opportunity.
Okay. Was it good?
And it was good. It was good. I had a good steak. But I did not go the St. Elmo's route because I'm not on the Holcomb payroll.
Oh,
so
here we go. Have those guys carry you.
Why don't you sponsor him?
I will. That's what I was going to say. If I need to sponsor and put in a little envelope for you, like Blue Chips back in the day, I'll give you some, and you can go to St. Elmo's. You got to go.
What I should have done is I should have just walked in and said, I know Kelly Holcomb. Yeah.
You know what would happen? You want me to give you the signal?
Oh, yeah, tell me, George.
That's not going to work. They would do this. You're out.
You're out.
They would have said, here's a salad, but we can't give you a steak.
Hey, so when y'all talk about the Craig Kimbrell deal, This guy, y'all talk about him being in the Hall of Fame. Have you ever had a situation? I know he's with Gwinnett, but have you ever had a situation where you've had a guy like a Craig Kimbrell come to your organization and, like, he's not rehabbing, he's trying to get back to the big leagues again, and I don't know, like, that's a tough when you talk about ego, man. That guy's been in the World Series. You talked about he's fifth on the all-time saves list. Like, how do you? I know you love the game, but have you ever been a part of or had a guy that you've known that has had to come down like that and try to make his way back up, Jeff?
Yeah, AAA baseball can give you some humble pie, man. It can give you some humble pie. It's a fascinating level. I've said this before. The big leagues is better baseball than AAA. I could make an argument that AAA is more interesting than the big leagues because of some of the things you see and some of the people you see. And you like you said, maybe not even anything quite as extreme as a Craig Kimbrell, but 4 years ago, that guy was an all-star. Or, I mean, the Sounds lineup tonight has Eddie Rosario, Brave of 2021, who helped you guys win a World Series there, George. And, not long ago, he was hitting 30 home runs in the big leagues, and now he's trying to get back to the big leagues. And so you see that quite often, a veteran player who's got a heck of a resume, but for this or that, whether usually it's 9 times out of 10, it's injury related. They're coming back and trying to prove that they're healthy. But you also just see sometimes, okay, he had a couple, 2-3 down years, and you switch organizations, and then you're trying to reprove yourself. The closest example I would give for the Sounds personally to your question, Kelly, would be in 2015 when this ballpark opened and we were an Oakland A's affiliate, and Barry Zito pitched really the full season with the Sounds. So that was 2015. In 2002, he had won the Cy Young Award for Oakland. And then had great years with Oakland, goes to the Giants, helps them win a couple of World Series. And then a few years later, he's trying to make what turned out to be a comeback season, and he got to the big leagues late that year, and he retired after that year. Barry was a really interesting guy because he truly that year would have told you and told me when I talked to him, like, this is not necessarily the end-all be-all of getting back to the big leagues. He said, I'm just loving playing baseball again. It was like pure love of the game for Zito in 2015. Now, he did end up getting back to the big leagues at the end of that year, but it was really fun to kind of be along for the ride of watching Zito that year, where he wasn't going to turn down a big league opportunity, but he really just wanted to pitch every fifth day and to love the game again after being away from it a little bit. And he got that. It was a really fulfilling season for him, and now he's a songwriter and still makes his home in Nashville, and just fell in love with this city and has stayed because he's such a passionate musician. So you see it from time to time. Kimbrell's a unique one just because that resume of 15 years in the big leagues and winning a World Series and all the All-Star games, but it's not unheard of. AAA is a level of humble pie. It's a what have you done for me lately? And sometimes your resume can keep getting you opportunities, but this is a meritocracy of a level. Like I gave you the Kimbrell numbers of the 1-something ERA. If the ERA were 7 or 8 or whatever, like teams know pretty quickly if somebody's still got it, and they'll move on from you. So it truly is a what can you do now? It's great that you did this or that 5-6 years ago, but what can you do now? And you'll filter out at AAA if you can't still perform in some capacity. It's a fascinating level of baseball.
George and you talked about the schedule and how the schedule has changed, and you're baseball all the time because you work there. You're the play-by-play guy. You're baseball all the time. So when you get a day off, I know you're going to spend it with your family, but do you sit down? Do you watch games? Do you watch Major League games? Who do you watch? Do you watch guys that are with the Brewers or that were with the Sounds? How does that day off look for you?
If we have an off day and the Brewers are playing, I will certainly either keep an eye on it or absolutely read up on it after the game, because I need to know mostly about the Brewers for covering the Sounds, because something might have happened in that Brewers game that's going to affect a roster move or an injury or a rehab assignment. So I'm never far from keeping up with it. I will watch baseball a little bit if it's on. if either A, my kids want to watch it, or B, if they've gone to bed and there's a game on and I'm just kind of flipping channels. I do try to get away from it if I can and when I can on that day. I'm certainly not paying as close attention as I would if we had a game that night, or, whatever was going on with the Brewers on a day we're also playing, because I know I've at least got time to kind of get caught up for the next day because we're not playing that night. So I do try to get away with it. Family comes first as much as humanly possible on the off days. And that's where, 99% of my time and energy went yesterday when we had the off day. And I'm thankful that the Sounds afford me that off day when the team is off, because, for example, like we had the celebrity softball game here last night. Most of our staff was working that. And so it's just, I appreciate having those opportunities to catch up with family on the days that we're off. But baseball's never far from the brain on those off days, just because when you do have a game coming up the next day, you don't want to fly in blind, not having paid any attention to some big story that might have happened that's either going to affect your game directly or indirectly when you're getting back behind the microphone. And you want to at least know what's going on tangentially that might affect something that you're going to have to be ready for in your game that night.
Anything, my last one. So anything, this is a crazy question, but anything in the baseball world that you would like to see changed? In your profession that you would like to see change, rules or anything you would like to see changed in baseball?
That is a great question. And I say great because I love a lot of what Major League Baseball has done the last few years. The pitch clocks, the runner at second base in extra innings, the schedule we talked about, I think is great for the players at this level to have the regular off days. I love like a small one that really annoyed me the last few years that I'm glad Major League Baseball has corrected. In the MLB All-Star game next month, players will wear their uniform from their team and not the generic National League jersey or American League jersey. I think that's great. I think players should wear the brand that they represent 162 games. So that's one that I love. I didn't love the additional wild cards a couple years ago, but I've come around on that one. I don't want too many teams to be able to make the postseason, but I get it from a fan's perspective. If your team could at all be on the brink of a postseason appearance, even if it's a wild card and not a division title, I think that's good. So I've come around on that one. There's nothing that's jumping out. I like the challenge system that we have here. I think it would be beneficial to have that at the major league level down the road. I think it'll get there. I don't know when. So I think Major League Baseball deserves a lot of credit for different rule implementations that they've tried here, and many of which have gotten to the big league level, because I think they are good for the fan and or the fan experience, and that's ultimately what this should be about.
Jeff, that is good stuff. Kelly, that was a terrific question. Loved the answer. See you tonight at the ballpark.
All right, fellas. See you. And Kelly, we'll go to St. Elmo's in November? When are we going there?
Hey, whenever you want to go, I'll go. I'll drive up there. I'll go because I love it.
Well, now see you, fellas.
See you,
Jeff. Okay, after the break, a few thoughts about today's firing in New York and what you're going to hear in the days to come. This is 94.9, The Fan. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Attention sports fans. The George Plaster Show will broadcast live this Friday from the grand opening of X Golf at 209 South Royal Oaks in Franklin. If you love golf in any form or fashion, this is where you need to be. Experience the future of golf through the world's most accurate simulator. See you in Franklin on Friday.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay. Wow, I got a double box there, Billy. What happened?
I don't know why it does that.
So if you were not listening earlier in the show, interesting story that may not affect those of you who don't really care a lot about the NBA, but the New York Knicks today fired their head coach, Tom Thibodeau. And they released a statement as part of the firing, quote, "Our organization is singularly focused on winning a championship for our fans." So, Kelly, when you watch him, he kind of looks like a curmudgeon. Okay, in the press conferences, he kind of comes off as a curmudgeon. But it's been a while as I try to think about people who have gotten fired after having really achieved at a high level. I brought up Bum Phillips when he was in Houston. They thought, we should knock the door down. They hired a guy named Ed Biles, and this just in, it didn't happen. And when I think about the Knicks people saying our singular focus is on winning a championship, he beat the Boston Celtics, for God's sakes. And he was beating them huge even before Jason Tatum's injury. I guess what I'm saying is the Knicks better be careful, because this has just as much opportunity to go to the wrong way as it does to lead them to a championship.
The Knicks have literally not been relevant since the John Starks, Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing days. That's been forever ago. Billy don't even know who they are. And I mean, like, how do you fire your coach? There's a lot of coaches that are curmudgeons. I get it. But, like, you took them to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then you say that they're upset about he doesn't use enough guys. Well, give me some guys that I trust and I can use. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Kelly, one of the things that may have led to this is in the latter pieces of the Pacer series, where it became obvious that their starters were running out of gas, the bench really helped them.
Yeah.
Billy,
Maybe that's what it is.
Shamit came in, contributed quite a bit off their bench. I wonder if that got him.
I'm going to say it probably did. Looking at that and talking about thinking about what you've talked about, George, that had to. But that could have been, he obviously didn't trust those guys. He really didn't. And he got backed into a corner where he had to use some of them, and that probably hurt him. That probably did hurt him. But I don't know. I think you're right. I think that they better be careful about who they hire. But like, is there underlying things going on with all that
Well,
other than just that?
That's what I think. I'm really interested tonight. When I watch the 10 o'clock Sports Center and they load up some of the experts, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Shams, Charania, and what are those people going to tell me that maybe I've got to say, okay, that changes my thought process.
Right.
This screams to me that the players just didn't like him, and the players went to whoever they needed to go to in the front office and said, "We don't like playing for this guy. We're good enough to win." They got by the Celtics and they took the Pacers to 6, but it screams to me that the players felt like Thibodeau was holding them back, and because it's probably going to be some offseason moves, and the entire team's not going to still be together next year, but they've got a really good core that can continue to do things. And it sounds like the Knicks felt like they had to do this now, as opposed to, being sorry, regretting not doing anything next year.
Okay, let me ask this question. When he was healthy, talking about Jason Tatum, could you honestly say the Knicks were better than them?
No.
I mean, no, but they beat them. They beat them with them, didn't they?
I mean, they were well on their way to winning the series even before Tatum got hurt. They didn't win the series because Tatum got hurt. Now, it didn't hurt in Game 6 that he wasn't around, but up until then, the Knicks were winning that series.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to say the Knicks were better than the Celtics, even with Jason Tatum. I mean,
I don't think so.
They beat them.
I don't think so either. Well, what do you? I don't think. Looking at it, I don't think that the Knicks were better than the Pacers. Do y'all? Do y'all think that was evenly matched?
No. I think the Pacers are really young and really talented, about 10 deep. And I think ultimately that's what this move is about, is the Knicks saying we want to go 10 deep and we don't have a coach who believes in that. All I'm saying is, look, they may be right. And he certainly comes off as a curmudgeon. But the guy can coach some basketball. And I am, over the next 48 hours on all these ESPN shows, this is going to be topic number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, yeah. I still don't really know. I mean, I just throwing my take out there. It feels like the players were the ones that went to the front office and said, "Hey, we got to do something."
I'm trying to think of it.
And George, in today's sports, I agree with Billy. I think that had a lot of what happened, because players nowadays, they're making more than the coach. And when you have no leverage on the players, and it's hard, it would be hard to coach an NBA squad now. The Phil Jacksons of the day, got Michael Jordan behind him, but it's just hard nowadays. And if you make one move, that's what happens to you. What Billy's talking about, they just go to the front office and say, "Hey, we don't like this guy." Jalen Brunson goes and says, "I don't like him." I mean, that carries a lot of weight, because these guys are making so much money, and if your star player doesn't like him and doesn't want to play for him, that's a big red flag for these organizations.
Wow, this is a move. I know it had been rumored, and I know I'd been hearing it, but deep down, I didn't believe it. I kept saying to myself, this guy has achieved at a very, very high level to get them deep into the third round with a chance. I don't know. The best thing the Knicks have going a year from now is the Celtics are not likely to be a threat without Tatum.
That could be a part of the equation too.
And they may be looking at it and saying,
this
we
is
have
our
a 1-year window to go win a championship.
Yep.
But you know what? It ain't that easy.
No. You got Indiana standing in your way still. They like you said, George, they're young. They got some talented guys on that squad, man. They play hard. They play hard for an NBA team. They got the right mix of guys who you got some scores, but you got guys that want to defend, guys that are big, guys that hustle. They're pretty good.
Plaster bet of the day took on significant water last night. Not a good evening. We'll share the results. Hopefully, we'll gloss over them and then get to tonight's winning in just a moment on 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the information superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to thegamenashville.com.
The password, we're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Give Dad what he really wants this Father's Day with gifts from Electronic Express. We've got the latest tech, hottest grills, and top-of-the-line home entertainment to help you celebrate Father's Day in style. Looking for appliances to help him finish that kitchen project? We've got that too, with free delivery, guaranteed lowest prices, and up to 24 months free financing. Make this Father's Day one he'll remember. Shop in store or online at electronicexpress.com.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Tuesday. Time now for Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Why are we taking forever for these final series to start?
Well, because there was no way for them to know that they would end as early as they did.
That's a good point. Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, take a look at what happened last night.
But let me ask you this real quick. Don't you like the fact that both teams will be fresh?
Yeah, I was just wondering that. I mean, you kind of answered my question there. It just feels like it's been a little too long. But I mean, they schedule it ahead of the playoffs, so they're not going to move them up. Dodgers got the loss last night. So you're now 4 games below 500.
I want to thank whoever forgot that I said take Southern Miss. I should be 5 under. Okay, I'm going to be honest because, Kelly, honesty is the best policy.
Yes, and you did pick that college game yesterday.
Yeah.
I get obviously young William forgot.
Oh yes, I forgot. My bad.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Your brain is mush at your young age already, Billy.
Thank you, Kelly.
Quite the vote of confidence. Okay, 2 plays tonight. Here's a really solid baseball team that all of a sudden Wrigley Field is going to have an electric summer. The Cubs are really good. I'm taking them tonight in our nation's capital against an improving Washington Nationals who has a local product, Robert Hassel Jr., in their lineup, doing very well.
The third.
Yeah.
You're talking the Nationals?
Is he the third? Yeah. Is he the third?
Yeah. Robert Hassel the third. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the second play tonight is the Cardinals at home. They've been a pleasant surprise in recent weeks, which is certainly more than we can say for the Los Bravos. We're taking the Cardinals tonight minus 130 against Kansas City. Tomorrow, former Heisman Trophy winner and current Bowling Green head football coach Eddie George will be on the show.
Nice. I like
Looking
it, George.
forward to
Good
it.
get. That's a good get there, Hoss.
Kelly, see you tomorrow.
See ya.
Billy, rest well.
Thank you, George.
See all of you on 94.9 The Fan.